Hey guys, Adam here with AmericanTrucks.com, and today we're taking a closer look at and installing the AFE Magnum FORCE Stage 2 cold air intake with the Pro 5R oiled filter available for the 2019 and newer Ram 1500 with the 5.7 HEMI. Now, if you're looking to upgrade your factory air box on your 5.7 to something that has overall superior quality in filtration and airflow that doesn't require a tune and isn't going to break the bank, the AFE Stage 2 option we have here has an upgraded oiled filter, which uses 3 layers of progressively finer synthetic media to make sure it's filtering out every particle that you don't want getting in while pulling in more cold air. As a matter of fact, we'll break this down a little bit later on as well, but just know that this guy increases airflow over 50% compared to your factory intake, which is good for horsepower gains of about 24 and torque gains of about 32. Pretty good numbers, dyno tested from AFE, and they let us know that that's what you can expect, and it doesn't require a tune. That's a huge bonus here. You can just pull it out of the box, install it, and you're good to go to see results. The rest of the kit uses a larger diameter tubing here, also going to dissipate heat a little bit better to make sure your cold air stays cold. And then finally, the whole kit comes in right around $350, which really isn't at the top end of the spectrum as far as pricing goes, but the quality of materials here is very impressive. I will say the only thing I would have liked to see in this kit was a completely closed air box to really trap in the cold air and keep out the heat, but it does have this weather stripping here to make sure it's sealing in under the hood. If you're willing to spend a little bit more money, you can get the same quality materials with a closed air box, especially one from AFE. They have that option available as well, but it comes down to personal preference and what you want to spend. Install, that's going to get 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. Anybody can tackle this in the driveway at home with about an hour's worth of time from start to finish. Cold air intakes are some of the easiest things you can do, especially under the hood. You can tackle it with simple hand tools. I'm going to show you every single step of the process. What do you say we get started? Tools used in this install include an impact gun or a ratchet, flathead screwdriver, 20mm wrench, extension, and I'm using a Phillips head socket, but a Phillips head screwdriver works as well. All right, first step here, you're going to disconnect the temp sensor just by disconnecting that harness. Pinch and pull back. Next step, we're going to disconnect this hose, which is just to the left. You're going to push up on that gray locking tab from the bottom and pull straight back. Next, we're going to take a flathead screwdriver and we're going to loosen up this clamp connecting the factory hose to the throttle body. Now what we want to do is lift straight up on the airbox to disconnect. There's 2 little rubber plugs that these are in that are kind of retaining that in place. So we're just going to pull and disconnect it from there. There we go, and we're going to set this aside. Next step, what you want to do is remove this factory air duct. Now you may need to put a little bit of firm pressure on it to pull straight back because it's clipped in to this plastic portion below it. So we're going to lift up from underneath, disconnect. Now you'll see that it has this molded on little bracket that slots into that hole, so that's what you're pulling out. Set this aside. All right guys, we got our factory intake off of our 2019 5.7 behind me. It's on the table next to our AFE, and I want to take you through similarities and differences between the 2 kits here to make sure you guys fully understand the upgrade we've got from the AFE kit. So we've taken apart our factory intake here to expose the flat drop-in paper element filter. This guy is a dry filter, unlike your new AFE option. It's pretty basic, right off the factory line. This is something you can completely expect from companies like Dodge, Ford, so on. Now this filter here is going to be a huge upgrade in almost every single way. As you can see, this is a 7-inch tall, flat top, 360-degree conical filter, completely different in shape and design than your factory one. This guy's going to do a lot better job pulling in more cold air. And as a matter of fact, AFE lets us know that this increases airflow up to 52% over your factory intake kit. That is a really impressive number, and that actually translates to about 24 horsepower and 32 pound-feet of torque at the rear wheels, upgraded with this kit here. Now that's something AFE claims that they have computer designed and dyno tested to prove that without requiring you to pick up a tune. Now this filter here is their oiled option that has 3 layers of progressively finer porosity synthetic filter media. I know that's a lot of fancy wordplay here, but what that basically means is the multi-layers of that synthetic material they use gets progressively smaller or finer to filter out even the smallest microns of particles. That's going to filter out all of the unwanted stuff that you don't want getting into your intake manifold and ultimately into your engine. Now this guy here also includes a roto-molded intake tubing, which has a bigger diameter than your factory tubing to allow for more cold air and volume. And it also doesn't have this flex pipe, which can restrict airflow, slowing things down. You're gonna get an 18 gauge heat shield. Now this heat shield here isn't as big and as glamorous as some of the more intricate ones in the kit. AFE even offers some of their more premium options that have a completely enclosed heat shield. This guy is a little bit more basic, but it is very high quality in material, and it also has that textured black powder coating on top, which not only looks really good, but it's also gonna help with corrosion and rust resistance, and really it's gonna blend in very well with the engine bay. So if you're looking for an intake kit that has a completely enclosed heat shield, this isn't gonna be the one, but it is going to do a good job in combination with the weather stripping to seal in under your hood to trap out all of the engine bay heat that you don't want getting in. Other than that, it comes with new couplers, new clamps, and new hose fittings to make sure there are leak-free finishes and that it's using high-quality hardware. What we're going to have to do here is transfer over our factory sensor to our new kit. We'll start there and then finish up with assembly. Next step here, we're going to flip over that factory tubing to take a look at our sensor. Now this guy, all we have to do is counterclockwise twist and pull straight back. You want to be pretty careful with this. You don't want to damage it in any way. You are going to need that. So we're going to twist it and just kind of wiggle it back and forth, gently pulling straight back until it disconnects. I'm going to set this guy down. We can put our factory components aside. Next, you're going to take your tubing from AFE, the grommet included in the kit. You're going to install that into the pre-drilled hole on the side here. Now that's going to be where your old sensor is reinstalled. So what you're basically going to do is just pinch this guy around so it hugs that hole. Then you can take the sensor adapter, which basically has that locking mechanism in there that your factory unit used. Now what you might want to do is put your finger on the inside to make sure that the grommet isn't going to fall through. Just make sure you're pushing back upward on that. All right, so there you go. Once you have that fitting seated all the way down, you're going to take your sensor and you're going to lock that guy into place. Now what you want to do is make sure that it's oriented the right way. So the tab here, you want facing this open hole. So we're going to rotate this whole assembly so that it faces the right direction. You should be able to look in and evenly see that blue sensor. Next, you want to take your hose fitting. It's already pre-threaded and there's already a pre-drilled and pre-threaded hole. You're basically going to thread this guy in and then use a 20mm wrench to just tighten it down. All right, so the threading won't go all the way down. It does get very tight, so you just want to make sure it's as tight as you can get that guy. You want to make sure you're not stripping it out as well. It'll seat nice and snug. From here, we can move on and install our coupler. So now on that sensor side, this is the side that will connect to your throttle body. You're going to install the coupler. Now there are two clamps in the kit here, not attached to your filter, so these two are the secondary ones. You're going to take one of them and put it over the other end. And you're going to install this over the throttle body side of your tubing. So seated all the way down on this inlet, and then align your clamp and tighten it down. You can use a flathead screwdriver. I know we took a look at the factory intake taken apart on the table a little bit ago. I put it back together here to show you guys how to take it apart because we are just going to need to reuse the bottom section. Now there are 6 Phillips head screws, 3 on each side, that we're gonna have to remove. I've got my impact gun and a Phillips head socket. Of course, you can just use a Phillips head screwdriver. This just saves a little bit of time. We're really just gonna go all the way around it, taking off those 6 screws. And finally, there's one back here. All right, with all 6 of those removed, you can pop this lid off, set that down. We are no longer gonna need that. And of course, you wanna remove your factory filter, which can be pretty tight. You can also use a flathead screwdriver to get this guy out, or just pry that back. So I'm gonna grab a flathead and remove that. Obviously, we're not gonna use this anymore. So now we can start the installation by putting this back in place. All right, so first step here, I'm just gonna simply put our factory air duct back in place. This guy's gonna slide back into position. You really just push it back and it locks in. That's pretty simple. All right, from there, we're gonna take that bottom portion of the factory heat shield that we just worked on and drop it into place. You'll see the retaining pins here are gonna come through the holes here. So we're really just gonna push that back into place while lining it up to that air duct. All right, so you can see those start to come through. Just gonna push down so it locks in place. All right, the next 2 steps we're kind of gonna do simultaneously. Number 1, drop in your filter. Now you wanna look at the AFE logo on the top, make sure it's not upside down when you drop this guy in. You're also gonna wanna take that clamp off just for the time being. Take the top portion of your heat shield and we're gonna drop it into place while simultaneously pulling the filter through the open hole. We're really trying to line up these tabs to the factory holes where those Phillips head screws were. So we're going to pull that filter through to help seat that guy, and then line up those holes, just like that. From there, you can pop on that clamp. All right, so here, what we're gonna do is grab the factory screws and put them right back in. All right, once you have that where you want it, line up those holes and put the factory screws back through. I'm gonna use my Phillips head socket and that extension just to put them in a couple of threads, and then I'm gonna use my impact gun to make life easier, but of course, you can use just a simple screwdriver. Right, next step here, we're gonna drop in our tubing. Now make sure that you have a clamp over the other end of that coupler that we installed earlier, and install that to your throttle body first. All right, the other end of that is gonna go to your filter. Now the tricky part about this is the filter is gonna wanna fall in, so you're gonna have to prop it up while also installing that tubing. All right, so we're basically seating that all the way down. Now we can tighten this clamp and then focus on our throttle body. All right, so now you can rotate this coupler where you need it to be and tighten down the clamp. Last couple of steps here, guys, pretty simple. What we're gonna do is plug in our sensor. So the harness is right here, just gonna seat that guy all the way down. Grab your hose as well and connect it to your fitting. Just gonna connect that until you hear it click. The last step we're gonna do is over at our heat shield, we'll put in our weather stripping. Now for the weather stripping, there's already a pre-cut strip. What we're gonna do is start at the edge and just work our way all the way around. Now, well, the way you'll do it is it's already got a split in it. It'll seat right around the edging. You just push it down with a little bit of pressure. It seats pretty easily. All right, now it's not gonna make its way all the way around because this portion will not contact the hood, but the rest of this will. So when the hood shuts, it'll seal up against it and block out some of that engine bay heat. Well guys, that's gonna wrap up my review and install for the AFE Magnum FORCE Stage 2 intake with the Pro 5R oiled filter, available for the 5.7 HEMI in your 2019 or newer Ram 1500. You can get yours right here at AmericanTrucks.com.